like I keep saying, the only thing is don't try to save face at the detriment of yourself.
Right, yeah, yeah.
They're like, there is no need to fucking fight for the check if you don't have,
have no
money to
money.
pay.
I'm just giving my library card.
Welcome to the Worst Asian Podcast, where a couple Asian American millennials give you our shitty opinions on all things Asian. My name is Lingjie. I'm here with my co-host, Ben.
How do you do?
I'm still trying to chew this protein bar in my mouth.
Lingjie eats like a very, very decadent energy bar.
By decadent, you mean extremely hard protein bar.
Yeah, Lingjie gave me a little piece of it. Dude, it's like eating like chewed gum already.
It kind of is. It's like a whole giant bar, chewed protein gum.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is this? It's delicious. It is delicious.
It actually tastes pretty good, but it's so hard that my jawline and my mouth actually are tired.
It's sore.
Yeah, it's actually sore.
Shit.
What did you just put in your mouth?
My drugs. This is Molly.
No, seriously, what is that?
It's my vitamin B.
We're already recording and he's just shoving pills into his mouth.
That's
I don't know.
I'm the guy from A Star Is Born. Remember, he's always like taking like fucking Percocets and shit.
Oh yeah, before every concert.
Yeah, that's me.
But you're also sticking a what in your mouth?
Vitamin B6 complex.
Vitamin B6 complex.
B6 complex.
Is that supposed to stimulate your
It's for
your brain?
Yes, it gives me energy.
Does
It's the main thing that's responsible for keeping your brain functioning. It's the shit you find in a lot of energy drinks, especially Red Bull. It's the one that's like 6,000% that you're not supposed to have, obviously, too much of.
How long have you been taking this B whatever complex?
For 14 years.
After 14 years, clearly it's not doing anything because it's not. Your brain doesn't seem like it's more stimulated than it was prior to, unless you were even dumber before.
Imagine this. This is me taking the limitless pill. It just makes you an average person. Like, it doesn't even make me smart. Like, it just makes me average.
If you guys don't know that reference, Limitless, the movies, you take a pill and it's supposed to like unlock 100% of your brain or some shit.
Your erectile dysfunction. Oh, I'm sorry. Which different movie I'm talking about?
Different pill.
It unlocks all 100% of your brain.
So this right now, this version of you, Ben, is the 100% limitless version.
I feel super brain powerful.
You need to never come off these drugs then.
I just need it thoroughly like circulate to my veins and stuff.
Speaking of taking care of yourself, I hear you've been going to the sauna a lot more recently.
I have.
How is this a high-class sauna that you pay for?
It's at the local YMCA.
So it's free. It's not even a sauna. It's like New York City streets when the manhole pipes have a lot of steam. They have a lot of steam coming up.
It's a tent on top of it. It's right in front of the YMCA.
Man just takes off his clothes and stands in front of those manhole pipes.
But yeah, it's at my gym. They finally opened it up. I guess because of like COVID precautions and stuff, protocols, so it's easier now.
Oh, so it's not a new sauna. It was just closed because of the pandemic.
It was closed, yes. And I remember I took it from a friend of mine. He's like, "Yo, you want to go check out the sauna?" And it's no way him trying to like seduce me. But yeah, I went in. I was like, "Oh my god, I forgot how good saunas make you feel after a workout and stuff."
How does it feel? Because I've never personally been in the sauna.
Wait, have we never been to a sauna together?
I've never been to a sauna with you.
But you haven't been just in general.
I personally myself have not been to a sauna, period.
Yo, we should go. It's really, it feels really good. You get to wear comfortable PJs.
Yeah.
The cold treatment, the heat treatment. There's ones that have like a salt room, so you're breathing in like the Himalayan salt.
This is not the one at the YMCA, right?
No.
I was going to say, that's really fancy for one at the YMCA.
Yeah, this like the Koreans, we love our saunas.
Yeah, Koreans have a big spa culture.
It's where they're all having their sex. I was joking. People are going to be like, what the
fuck?
Yo,
that's even more reason why you should not get in that water then.
Oh, God, I'm getting so much trouble.
Prior to COVID, one of the reasons why I never really frequented those saunas was I had this weird perception that they were actually kind of dirty.
I mean, that's not crazy to think, but I would say for most part, they're pretty clean, man. Even our sauna it's great. We have a steam room and a sauna, and I can't do a steam room.
Actually,
it's just,
you know what?
It's just too moist.
This is a dumb question. What's the difference between a sauna and a steam room?
That's what I was going to say. So a steam room is more, there's a lot more moisture in the air. So it's a lot more liquid, like actual water steam.
Okay.
Where a sauna is like, you walk in, it's like a very dry heat. That's
What's the heat from then if it's not from steam?
It's from these stones. So they heat these stones electrically, and then the stones emit the heat throughout the room.
Which one's better for you? Which one feels better, actually? Which one feels better?
I would say the sauna, because the sauna, you want to sweat it out. Also, the steam room, I would say it's a lot more dirty because moist particles in the air.
Oh, and the steam is not hot enough to kill off those bacteria?
I would say so. Yeah, exactly. So the
okay.
steam is like you come out and you're just like you're kind of in other people's stench of steam.
Oh, that's true.
Where the sauna is like it's a high heat, so it dries out.
Wouldn't you still like be sweating and your stench would still be coming off in that room, even though there's no like steam?
But the sauna, it dries off everything. So I did this test where like I just put like my shoulder onto the wall.
Okay.
It's all wooden, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a wet mark. I timed it to see how fast it'll dry up. It was within 2 minutes. It was gone.
Okay, so that's pretty good then.
I want to say scientifically it's better.
Don't people also like go to steam rooms or saunas, whatever, to sweat out all the moisture from the body so that they actually look skinnier? Like professional boxers go into like a steam suit, like a whole steam suit in a steam room.
Yes. They'll do it to cut weight and stuff.
Maybe you should do that before every single podcast recording.
I should. And then I just die from dehydration.
During the recording.
And then there's like vitamin B complex and it's like my brain is like an aneurysm and shit. But yeah, the sauna, it feels great. Oh, we got to go. We're going to go.
We'll just do a podcast recording from a sauna room.
That actually would be great.
Is that possible?
Actually, I don't know. Our equipment might break. But you know, when you go into saunas, the only bad thing, I like it when it's completely empty, obviously.
So you can take off all your clothes.
Yeah, you don't have to.
You can take off all your clothes, period.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. But the thing is that, so I go to the sauna, right? And there's this neighbor of mine. I was like, oh, hey, I don't know his actual name, but he's a neighbor of mine. I've seen before, right?
Okay.
He's like, oh, you use the sauna too? I was like, yeah, I do the sauna and everything, blah, blah, blah. And at one point where like, I was talking to him about my job and I'm not even kidding you. Like, his dick is out, right? Like subconsciously, unconsciously, he kind of was starting to like touch his dick. And I was like,
that's a very, I'm a bit awkward now, you telling this story to me.
Yo,
without
I felt like a victim of sexual abuse, like sexual assault in a way.
Under some category that might be.
It is, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of like stopped and I was like, and your hand's on your dick, right? And you're right next to me. And I think he knows and he stopped. But you can't unsee that. That's the thing. I cannot unsee it. Because like you notice everything in there. There's no steam to block your vision. It's so pretty well lit.
Maybe pro life hack, you should wear sunglasses into the sauna next time.
I think I might have to.
I'm kind of being serious. It's not a bad thing. Because then you can actually kind of try to sleep because it'll be darker in your eyes. I'm being serious.
All right. But I was going to say like, the problem is like, the rule is like, you always want to just try to look shoulders up.
Of course.
But you could still kind of tell.
Peripheral vision.
Yeah, peripheral vision, peripheral penis vision. Like, I was so pissed.
Yeah.
I was trying to be so polite because he's Korean. I had to be...
Invite him onto the podcast.
Yes, he was like, oh.
He has to bring his pants down.
he comes with a shirt on only and slippers.
Okay, let's get off the sauna subject because we're going to sauna way too long.
Oh, yes.
Great segues.
Yeah.
Saving face.
Oh, yeah, exactly. There we go.
Somehow.
Yeah.
You've heard this term, right?
No.
Saving face. I'm actually surprised you've never heard this term, saving face.
I have. It's just, I feel like I do it so poorly.
All right, so Asian culture and East Asian culture, there's this concept of saving face or just face in general. It kind of means like honor or prestige. That's like the closest thing that I could find to kind of get you the idea, right?
Yeah.
So it's honor and prestige for yourself and for your immediate family. It's something that you can gain and that you can lose.
I agree. I think I lost it with this podcast.
I think you lost it when you were born.
Oh, yeah. Maybe that too, actually. Yes.
It's something that you can gain, meaning that if you do more, I'm just going to say the word prestigious for this podcast just to make it a little bit easier for you people that somehow don't know what this is to understand. So you can gain prestige by doing things in your life that make you seem more prestigious, honorable, and you can lose face by doing embarrassing things.
Right.
Asian cultures, the idea of face is actually much more important than in Western cultures, right? Everyone, for the most part, cares to some extent whether or not you look bad or not. That's a common thing among all people in general, right?
And we're not talking about like aesthetically.
No. Yeah, of course not. We're just talking about it's like an intangible quality of yours that you can.
Do you feel like China is now implementing it with the whole like social system kind of thing?
Yeah, I was going to get into that. Do you, as a non-Chinese person, do you want to tell me about the Chinese system of social points or social ratings?
Yeah, so because I'm such a Chinese expert, I have my master's in Chinese sociology and Chinese literature, actually.
Okay.
You can find me on Wikipedia. What I've discovered is that in China, we have a system. It's like a social guidance system.
I also love how you said we.
Yes.
You're throwing your Korean ass into. Okay, never mind. Sorry to interrupt, please.
No, that's okay. It's okay.
Please continue.
That's fine. You would be docked for that. You'll lose a point. So in China, if we feel appropriate, where if you... She's shaking his head.
Because you're saying we.
What happens is that there's cameras everywhere. Big Brother is definitely one. Big Xi Jinping. That's how you say it properly. All right, guys. Xi Jinping is watching you, and depending on how well you are as a citizen, you get a certain rating. It's almost like when you're like Uber driver, Uber passenger, you get a rating. It's the same idea.
It's like your credit rating in America.
Oh yeah, I don't have a credit score, so I wouldn't know what kind of example that is. So yeah, but if you want to use credit score for example, it's like a credit score for your social parameters. Let's just say.
Okay.
You know, if you are a person that commits crime, even speeding, jaywalking, it's all recorded and it will dock you. For example, if I spit on Lingjie, I believe that's 3 points. I believe also...
Are these the hard-hitting facts? Is that actually true?
Yes. If you step on someone's foot, I believe that's a flagrant 1 foul. And you take 2 free throw shots.
Ben's completely butchering this social thing, but it actually is true, though. Like, they are doing that. And in some ways, it's very comparable to the U.S. financial credit score that we have here, which I find kind of crazy because that's like a modern, tangible version of trying to rate your face or trying to see where you are in terms of your honor and your prestige.
It is, exactly.
Which is kind of like, you would never ever see that in America. It would just be weird to grade people on like their, I don't even know what word to use.
Grade them on their merit? Their character.
Their character, perfect. But saving face is like a very similar thing to that.
Don't you think it's kind of fucked up? It's like an episode of Black Mirror when they do that shit. Chinese version.
It actually is kind of true.
It is.
But it's a cultural norm. It's like in Japanese culture, you always have these, what do you call it? Like when you put a word at the end of a name, depending on their relationship to you. So if they're older, if they're younger, if they're someone of a similar class, it's a sign of respect.
It's like a ranking.
Not necessarily a ranking, but it's just a sign of respect to say that John-san or...
Wow. John-san. Wow. It's not even I like how you insert American name, then san. Not even like Utah-san or something. You know, like you literally pick John. Oh, when I think of Japanese, I think of John.
Watanabe-san say. Whatever. Take away my shitty example, but I'm saying the idea of face is similar to that, where it's just a part of the cultural norm of a society.
Right. Okay.
Do you guys have that in Korean culture as much as we have it in Chinese culture?
The only thing is that we still do, which I think is fucking highly stupid, is depending on your age, seniority. That's all we go by.
Yeah.
So that's why we always ask, like, oh, what year you're born. It's very normal for Korean culture to ask. Like, we're both 87s, right? So it's common to say, like, in Korean, we'll say 87. So we don't say the whole, like, 1987. We just say the last 2 digits of the year that you're born. So 언제 태어났어, like that. That's like when were you born. So if they ask, they'll be like, oh, 89, which is like 89. So from there, you can tell like, oh, they're 2 years younger than me.
So you don't ask for your age in Korean culture. You ask for the year that they were born?
Yeah. It's more common for the year to be asked to be born.
And then from there, you can calculate how old they are.
Yeah.
What if you're really bad at math?
Someone like, for example, like me, I do the squint, like the rock thing. I'm like, so 1989. So you're 20.
You know what?
Like I'm like those mind readers.
I know you're making a joke, but I wouldn't be surprised if you actually couldn't do the math right now on that.
I'm those people that are, what do they call those code readers? That's like, I'm getting a vibe. I'm looking for an M in this room here. Mike, is there a mic out there? You know those people that just like throw out shit and they just try to cling onto it?
Ben, pop quiz. If you were born in 1984, how old are you right now in 2023? Go.
You are 38? Is it 38? 39? But that was fast though. That was like supercomputer fast.
That was not supercomputer fast.
That was like supercomputer versus Magnus Carlsen.
I already forgot. This is your brain on maximum luminous capacity pill.
Yeah, actually, these are from gas stations. These are gas station pills.
These are just Flintstone gummies right now that you're taking. You don't even know what these pills you are taking.
I don't even know if they're real. They're from
the placebo effect thing.
Some of it could be a placebo. But going back to China. So if we...
You were talking about Korea.
Oh, yes. Going back to Korea. So you're an expert of Korean, mythology.
Wow. I'm so anxious to see where this is going.
I'll stop. But it is true in Korea. It's about seniority, which I think is very stupid because I met a lot of people that pretend that are older, but they're such pieces of shit that I refuse to acknowledge that you are my senior.
You have no respect for them, even though that they're older.
Yeah. The only time I personally think it's all about earning the respect.
Yes.
So I have a lot of dongsangs, which are younger siblings, that will call me Hyung. But I'll always tell them, like, you should only call me Hyung if you really mean it. It's not a God-given right to me, but if you feel like we have a real connection and relationship, then it means more to me if you call me that.
How come you don't call me Hyung?
I call you go fuck yourself. I would never call you Hyung.
I am technically older than you.
Yes, you are.
And by all metrics,
God.
by every metric, you should respect me.
Oh my God. I respect you, but not from just because you're fucking born later. All right? That's not why.
No. I'm saying you should respect me because I was born later and I have all the other merits for you to respect me.
Look at this fucking guy.
Can I be called Hyung if I'm not Korean?
Yeah.
Like,
you can.
Do Korean people call other non-Korean people Hyung?
If they do, then yes. I think some people might take offense to it because some people are very still, nationalistic about that kind of stuff.
If you, a Korean person, call me a Chinese person Hyung,
yeah.
Some other Korean people might feel offended that you're doing this. Like, bro, he's not even Korean.
Yeah, like they're just gonna be like, what do you call it, culture vultures and shit?
But like technically, it's you calling me it. It's not me doing the reverse.
I'll call you Sheki. I'll call you that.
Chugule. That's the extent of my Korean.
There you go.
I'm gonna add some subtitles. All right. So the idea of face, it's more like a reputation, which I think, in contrast to what you're saying about the Korean thing about just respecting because you're older, would actually be more valuable. So if you had something similar to that, this older douchebag, right? You would not need to call him Hyung or respect him more because, quote unquote, his face would be of lower prestige and value because of all the other negative things he's done.
Exactly.
Right. So technically, the Chinese are better.
Wow. You know what? On behalf of us Chinese people, I will agree with
Chinese people, you're defaulting to your professor again.
Yeah, because there's merit to it. It's like, oh, this guy works a great job. He's not tardy. He's a family man. He never committed crime. Good education.
But he's only, let's say, 23 years old. You should have more respect for him, even though he's much younger than you, because he's done all those other things.
I believe that's the case, right? And it doesn't matter, like, he's only 5'3". That doesn't mean shit, I believe, right?
Right. The physical part of it is not as big of a deal of it. The age is a slight part of it, but it's not the only thing that's more important.
Is penis size a factor?
Penis size is definitely not a factor for reasons I refuse to say. Quickly moving on to the next part of it.
Good segue.
There are ways that you can gain face.
Oh, I was saying penis size. I was like, damn, bro. It's just gas station pills. I told you, bro.
I started with the wrong verb. There are ways that you can grow face.
You can bro, it's not helping, but okay, I believe you, bro.
Obviously, I have personal examples of when you can gain face.
I'm sorry, I'm still thinking
We're not talking about the penis stuff anymore.
I personally grew my penis 2 to 3 inches more. You want some more coffee?
Yeah, give me some of this shitty coffee.
Yeah, I was gonna say this coffee's so shit.
You're at such a weird angle pouring this coffee right now. Yo, we're literally right over the mixer.
Right on top of the fucking mixer. Oh shit.
Note to ourselves: never pour coffee over the mixer.
Yeah, because the spout is tricky.
Yeah, and we're a bunch of idiots.
Oh man.
Before we go into the values of face itself, I just want to go over a couple ways that you can gain face according to Chinese customs. Right?
Oh.
Let me know what you think about some of this.
I know all of this already, but please entertain us.
Praising others at any opportunity, especially hosts and chefs.
Yes, not sexually. Sorry, I'm just adding.
I'm just taking a second.
This is where I make Lingjie dumber. Where I get more limitless, Lingjie gets limited. He becomes limited.
It's the limited bill.
There's a limiter. There's a cap. There's a cap on this shit.
Basically, like being respectful and complimentary and praising people that do stuff for you. So if a chef makes you a good meal, or like just a cook in general makes you a good meal, being respectful and thankful of that meal can gain you more face. I think that in general is just good manners.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the fact that you have to like explain being respectful.
Well, there is no like official like license that you have to get for this.
Is there? You know how you go to DMV? There's like a manual.
It's like a test.
There's like a manual and a test. Like, it's the same thing here. It's like, all right, guys, these are the guidelines you want to follow.
The next one is kind of weird. Inviting others to expensive dinners, banquets.
You sure this isn't a credit card scheme?
This is not a credit card scheme.
Oh, so how do we make people become better citizens? Make them spend more money.
For instance, I invite you out to a nice dinner.
Okay.
I gain face from doing that. I look better. I look more prestigious because I'm inviting you to a nice, expensive dinner.
So it's like you can be like a high social rating, but you could be dirt ass poor because you just spent all your money on showing face.
A lot of the stuff that you do to save face sometimes doesn't make sense because you're doing it at a financial burden to yourself in order to keep face.
Yeah, I was going to say about that.
Because like if so much of saving face or a good chunk of it is just doing things that look very luxurious for others, but you actually can't afford it, then that's pretty stupid, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. It's like those people that, we get this a lot in my job, people that look like they have a lot of money and their debit card gets declined.
The debit card.
I've never seen so many debit cards get declined before. And they look very affluent.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I'm like, oh man, like especially if it's on a date, you know, like you're trying to impress the girl.
Dude, that must be the worst. If you're out on a date and you're paying the bill and that shit gets declined and you have no other form.
And then like the worst part is that I think with debit, what's worse is that charged with overdraft fees.
Oh fuck. What do those guys do in those situations then? They take out a credit card?
I just tell them like I need something else to pay. You know, you can't leave until you pay.
Have you ever had a thing where a date tried to pay but couldn't, and then the other date
Had
to take out their credit card?
I had this one. Fuck, man. If there was a social standards here in America, these ladies would have fucking lost like half their score. So what happened is like, you know, these beautiful ladies, they come in, beautiful dresses. You know,
Yeah.
I even told them, I was like, you know, you ladies look stunning. You lighten up the whole, you know, rooftop.
This sounds like what you say to me every day.
Yes, you lighten up this living room.
Not this giant light that we have here.
Not this 1,000 watts lumen powered, and they were, you know, the life of the party. They're beautiful, celebrating a birthday. They even bought like a fancy cake and shit.
Okay.
When it came down to paying the bill, their bill was about $600.
Oh, that's not too bad. Actually, you know what? Someone's going to shit on me.
Yeah, you're right.
Someone is, right now, there's someone saying, yo.
$600 is a lot, man. They're
Yeah,
like,
it's a
that's
lot, okay.
rent.
You know what?
That's rent.
Chicka chicka. Yo, that's fucking expensive.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, right? So this doesn't help our case now. But what happened was that these ladies, mind you, it's like 7 of them. They're all arguing about how to pay the bill. I'm not
What do
even
you mean?
kidding
Like,
you.
who's paying the bill or if it's being split?
They were trying to figure out who was paying, and they're yelling in their language. I'm not even kidding you. They were the only ones left. The lights were on. Everything was clean. Everything was set up. We're literally waiting to fucking figure out how to pay the bill.
Yeah.
Eventually they figured it out, but I'm not even joking. It took an hour. A whole hour.
From the time you gave them the bill to when they actually paid?
Yes.
I'm curious. How did they end up paying the bill then? What was the...
I don't know. They just, someone gave in, obviously, because they eventually made it happen. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't believe people go out when they know they can't afford to go out.
Yeah, that's true.
It happens so much. You know, I learned that, and that's why I party at my job.
Ben drinks for free.
I get to drink for free. Lingjie gets to drink for free. He just says like, I'm Ben's fucking partner for his podcast. This half of this bar is mine. So yeah.
Please kick all the other patrons off my side of the bar, please.
Yes. All of them are paying.
Tell them to take their hookah bullshit away from me.
Their hookah
Okay?
bullshit. But yeah, like it's things like that, like saving face. That like you look at them, you think they come from like royalty.
You know what's so funny? These people are arguing about who's paying the bill. In Chinese culture, they fight to pay the bill.
Yes.
The polar opposite of what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh, you took the words right out of my mouth.
That comes back to this exact thing that I'm talking about. You're trying to pay the bill because you're trying to show that you're either being, number one, genuinely more respectful of them and wanting to pay, or sometimes I would say you don't even necessarily want to pay the bill, but because you want to keep your face, then you fight over taking the bill.
Exactly. There's been so many times where, you know, us even personally, I'll try to pay for the dinner.
I will let you pay for the dinner.
No, then you guys will pay. No, unfortunately, now we have Venmo, so it's really hard now to fight that.
Oh, that's true.
Because you guys would constantly, I'll pay the bill, and you guys are, why are you doing that? And then you guys would just Venmo me.
Yeah, because we have more money than you.
I know, but once in a while, when I actually do have money to spare,
we want you to save the money when you have the money.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Ben's financials. He's like, I made some extra money. We're going to go out to dinner again today.
Again today. He's like, I did it for lunch. Let's do it again for dinner. I'll see you guys in a few hours. All right. After a good shit.
Poor financial judgment on your part.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like, it would be one thing if I'm doing this constantly with everybody. It's like once in a while, if I can afford to pay for it, I'll do it.
Have you ever had any situations where someone's like sneakily paid the bills for you at a restaurant?
Oh, yeah, of course. Like in Hawaii, right? We both have our love for Hawaii. I didn't know this, but I think I mentioned it before, that if you're out and you're eating with locals and you try to pay for the bill, right? So I try to do it. I went and I gave the card to the waitress and I said, I want to pay for the bill. And I remember she asked, oh, are you from here? And I said, no, I'm just visiting. You know, I said it with a smile.
Yeah.
You know, I thought she was just talking small. And she said, oh, that's very nice of you. I get back and stuff, right? Then lo and behold, later, I found out that my friend's family relatives in Hawaii paid the bill. And
prior to you even paying the bill. Prior to you trying to pay the bill.
Exactly. And then I asked, I was like, miss, when did they give the card? Actually, they gave it after you. But this is the thing. In Hawaii, if you're a local and a foreigner is trying to pay for the bill, they don't take it.
Oh, that's actually kind of cool.
Right? That's like a pretty cool, you know, like saving face kind of thing, right? You know, my friend's relatives were like, oh, yeah, like that's a thing here. Thank you so much. In a way, it helped me out because I didn't have to pay. And it made me look good. It still made me look really good.
Oh, right, because you had the... You tried to pay the bill.
Exactly.
And then they didn't let you...
It's not because the card got declined. It's because you're not just supposed to do that.
Ben's debit card had no money on it, so he was sweating bullets.
It was called, what do we call it? A double bluff. Let's put it that way. It's like, please, I hope they don't take this card.
It's like when you're playing poker and you have like a 7-3 all in.
You have the sunglasses on, like not moving. It's like, all right, that's pretty much. And the guy has like an ace king,
Yeah.
and he still folds and shit. So yeah, that's kind of what it was.
You know, it's funny. Like that would actually make life a little bit easier because with Chinese people, there is no mandatory custom for the person that's taking the credit card to say you or you. Sometimes it'll literally be like the cashier's there, and then two people are standing in front of the cashier.
Yes.
Both like trying to thrust their credit card or their money at the
cashier.
at the cashier, but the cashier is just like, I'm gonna wait till this fight's over because I don't know who to take the money from.
Yes, it gets scary sometimes. I've had situations where people try to fight over paying for the bill, and it's like,
By the way, guys, if you want to pay for any of my food, pay for my food. I'm looking at the camera as I'm saying this right now.
if you guys want to pay for my eggs, I actually told my friend, I was like, apparently he has like a plug for getting eggs really cheap.
Does he?
I don't know about you, but I think he gets like the 30 pack for like less than $10.
They're like pigeon eggs.
They're like fucking
Alligator eggs.
alligator eggs.
Who else lays eggs? What's that? Duck-billed
Platypus.
platypus. Platypus eggs.
Why did you think of a platypus?
Because I was trying to think of mammals that lay eggs, and a platypus is the only mammal that lays eggs.
Yeah, shit.
Fun fact.
Would you ever try an ostrich egg?
Yeah, of course I would.
Oh, actually, what am I kidding? Lingjie actually has some. He actually has that.
Gold-plated. Okay, here are some other ways besides fighting for the check over at a restaurant that you can gain face, okay? Prevent someone else from losing face.
Oh, okay. I like that.
So for instance, like if Ben, when you give your debit card with no money and then you're sweating as the lady's taking it, I immediately jump in and be like, oh shit, Ben probably has no money.
I'm doing the blinky sign like that. So that's why I'm like, yo, 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 yo.
Help.
Yeah, yo, 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 yo.
Burning a fire like, yo.
The death symbol with the skull and the cross and shit. And no money and shit. It's like, yo, I'm
So
dead.
in that case, if I immediately step in so that you don't embarrass yourself with what do you call it when a credit card goes bad?
Decline?
What they decline.
Lingjie has never used that word because he's never been introduced as like, what's decline? Yeah, oh, you're talking about when you go down like a hill. No, sir. It means your credit card has no money. That's impossible. That's impossible. Lingjie just learned a new word today.
Not gonna lie.
Look at this guy.
Really
Look at this rich fuck right here.
I really struggle to figure out what you call it.
You're gonna be like negated? Like what? Does the credit card get shredded instantly? Like what happens? Lingjie's credit score is 900.
I don't know what is the high credit score. Mine was above 800 before, I think.
I think 805 is the max.
Is it 805?
Wow, Lingjie just revealed to us that this motherfucker.
No. Having a
I don't know.
Having a high credit score is not indicative of your wealth. It just means that you have good financial standings, meaning that you don't have a lot of debt or you have a good debt to something ratio. That's all it means. Okay. Other ways you can gain face is to avoid attention-seeking actions. So what that really means is don't start a podcast on the internet
where you I was going to say
obnoxiously, narcissistically scream on the internet.
Okay. So we are going to jail.
We are losing all of our face right now.
All right, great.
We are faceless. We're like that Nicolas Cage movie, Face Off.
I was like, wait, which one was it?
That was a great movie, by the way. Okay, one final way that is not like the normal stuff is express interest in local culture and history.
Not express.
No, express.
Oh,
so you gain face by pretending like you
racist.
give a shit about the art at the museum.
So you have to pretend like you're cultured.
Exactly. And that makes you look more prestigious in the eyes of other people.
So you got to up your bougie game.
Pretty much. There's so much of this that is unfortunately tied to money, which is why what I was saying before, a lot of people put themselves at a financial burden for the sake of keeping face.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's kind of like that person that gets all this like gold chain and diamond out shit and they're fucking broke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please, is there any other examples? Is there any easy examples that I can just do every day?
that you, Ben, can do every day to save face?
Yeah, like just picking up cans. Can I do that? Will that show?
Yo, mad respect for all the old grannies and grandpas that do like the whole picking up can thing from the garbage can. Because like I feel so fucking bad, but I give them so much props for doing it.
Oh hell yeah, dude.
You know, technically, according to customs, that would actually not look as good, right? Because then you're outwardly showing the public that you need to do stuff like that. But that's those situations where I say, fuck saving face, man. Any person in that situation that's willing to go out in the cold or just do something like that to make a couple bucks to like survive. Yo, to me, mad respect. It should be like you get even more face because you're willing to like put yourself in a bad looking spot so that you can provide.
Be human, be kind.
Another thing that is kind of easy, but like not very easy. If you have like a good job, that is like another way of gaining more face.
Okay. You know, I was gonna say like you're pretty well off, right? Like you're comfortable, right?
I'm comfortable.
Yeah, you're more than comfortable.
This motherfucker. You just had to slide that in.
But imagine like you do go work at Popeyes and shit, right? But it's like in China, would they still be like, oh, this guy got all his shit together, but just for shits and giggles, you're like, oh fuck it, I want to work at Popeyes. Like, do you think that would affect you, bring down your score, or do you think it will improve it?
If you're very traditional to it, it would probably decrease.
That's crazy. You're like a homeowner, you own a yacht. You would think that should, you know, just like, right? Like you would think like it should kind of boost it a little.
Right. Which is why I personally don't give a shit about whether or not I am saving face, keeping face.
Yeah.
The only times I make that exception is for my parents. So I will always do stuff that makes them keep their face.
And it's like you want to make sure you're doing it out of respect and honor.
Right. Because if they care about keeping face in a certain situation, why am I gonna like put my thoughts out there and be like, no, I don't give a shit, so you shouldn't give a shit. Like I'm not gonna force my beliefs about the custom onto them just because I'm trying to make a point.
I would say, you know, going back to a previous episode of ours about women in China being over 30, they're less desirable. Does that mean like once you hit 30, their social status degrade drops? And as a male, will they increase? I think that's a pretty legit question.
I think we said this last time, but it's not fair that men get time to, let's say, work on their career and then they're okay being later in life and single.
Right.
But on the flip side, women, if they choose to work on their career and then get older and are still single, are looked on poorly.
Yeah, like they just don't want to get married yet.
If you had to make me choose, I would probably say like they might actually lose a little bit of face if they're an older woman that is still not married, because no one is like asking you about the fine details about why you're not married. It's just that you're this age.
That's what I'm saying.
And you're not married.
So like it probably the amount of added stress, you know, like it's unfair because that woman could be more successful.
100%, but she may not be viewed on very favorably compared to the guy who's in that same age bracket.
Yeah, it's that same age is just a number. In this case, it should apply that way.
Do you yourself, and I kind of know the answer to this,
penis size?
No, no, I don't know the answer to that. This is a dumb question, but I guess it makes sense that I asked this of you. Do you, Ben, give a shit about keeping face? If that's something that your culture practiced more, if that was more available in Korean culture, would you even give a shit? You yourself?
Actually, what do you think my answer was?
No, because you don't give a shit about what other people think in general, period.
Oh.
Yeah.
I do care.
For yourself? Or for other people?
How do I say this? I guess I'm nitpicking.
Go for it.
In terms of this, like we do this podcast, right? That fucks our score. But in terms of like, we talk about like the algorithm, calling me a fat fuck or whatever, right? I don't give a fuck about that.
Yes.
You know, so saving face, that doesn't bother me. I don't know if that's really saving face. But in terms of like, I think like my relationship with you and, you know, with our other friends in our group, I do weigh heavily about what you guys think of me.
Okay, so you want to quote unquote keep face, save face with people that you care about.
Yeah.
Not to say that he doesn't care about you, the listener.
There's levels to it.
Right. You put more value on the people close to you. And like, you would want to keep our respect, although you've never gained my respect.
Yeah, wow. Yes. I would put it this way. I would say that like in a way, like you guys know me better than myself sometimes.
Yes.
Unfortunately. I can admit that about me. Where, you know, some people are a little more egotistical about it. I'm the latter. I like to think that like I'm still trying to figure my own shit out. That's why I rely on like hearing the thoughts of my close confidants.
Okay.
So you going back to about your whole family thing, that's really important too. It does matter to me like what I am perceived as through my family side. So more importantly, I guess
your immediate family side or like their extended family.
So not even our extended family, like even our neighbors, right?
Okay.
Korean people are very chatty, and I think Asian community we tend to be very gossipy.
Very chatty.
Right? We're very gossipy.
Very gossipy.
Very gossip girl, right?
Maybe that should be a topic.
And I personally cannot stand people like that. Like, there's a saying: if there's a person that's always constantly talking shit about another person, there's a good chance that person is probably talking shit about you when they're not with
100%, 100%.
Like, that's like a big characteristic that people should remember. And I try to pay attention to that. The
right.
more someone was always talking shit, that's probably what they're doing about everyone.
Same thing about you behind your back as well.
We don't talk shit about each other's back. We just say it to our face. You know, like, yo, Ben, you're a fat fuck.
You know what? As a side note, I feel like you guys are getting a bit more sensitive in this lifelong insulting that we've done.
No.
Do you feel that that's true?
No.
Or am I just misreading the room?
Yeah, like, you know, for a really smart guy, sometimes you really cannot read the room. Like, that's the truth. You're like, yo, I am Lingjie. I'm so smart that I know this is absolutely right. But reality is like, no, like, yo, you're kind of wrong. I remember we talked about starting with a friend about like having a mindset about like, mental health.
Yes.
And you can understand it. Like, you're like, why? Like, it seems so easy for you.
I toned down my traditional. What word am I looking for?
Traditional abuse. No, you have.
I've toned it down because I am trying to be more sensitive of certain people in certain situations.
Right. So this is my rule. It depends on the relationship you have with the person. So there's levels to it. If like you and me, if we're just kicking it to each other, it's fine. But if it's at the expense of like someone we like I don't know or they don't really know us, it can come off really weird. That's what it is. And that's the part where I think you don't read. I think you try to see it as like everything.
Yeah.
So like it's almost like, what the hell? Like this is like toxic relationship where people might read it as like that.
I know what you mean.
And you're thinking like, yo, I don't mean it at all. But when I
try not to worry about what other people think, and sometimes I do that a little bit too much. So if like you and I are just hanging out with like some other people, I may still shit on you, and we go back and forth the same way,
right?
Because I don't care that the other people there aren't as well aware of our relationship,
right? You have to ease into it. So it's like if I'm seeing someone new, and it's like, oh, Ben's a piece of shit. Ben steals from me right in front of her. She's gonna be like, "Why? What the fuck is going on?" And then she might doubt me now as a potential partner. It's like,
thank God you haven't seen anyone for so long.
There's a reason why I don't want you to bring anyone into the circle.
Ben's more scared to bring his dates to see me than he is to see his
parents,
his own parents.
It's like the whole idea of saving face, right?
Yeah,
yeah. There's levels to that kind of stuff, and I encourage it. I love it. What we do. I just don't like it if it's like as someone that doesn't understand our relationship sometimes.
Oh, that's true.
That's the thing. Then it gets like, it's a little weird.
But going back to your point that started all this, I am trying to be a better friend in those situations.
Oh, yeah. You've gotten so much better. Like, so much better.
I do my shit talking on the side to myself.
Yeah, which is fine. And like, there's things that's like, yo, it makes sense. There's sometimes where it's like, yo, you know what it is too? Sometimes you say it when it's like, yo, dude, like, this is not the time and moment. Because you got to also think like, what if that person's in a bad mood?
Right. But
that's the thing.
But here's the thing. When we chat on the phone and stuff, it's very hard to tell. And I always say this, tones, because the same sentence read in different ways, said different ways, can be very different meanings. So I may read a sentence that they're in a playful tone and I come back with another playful tone response.
Right.
But they may have said that like in like a sad, frustrated, stressed out kind of way. You can't tell tones, which is why I hate having deep conversations via text.
Yeah, that I agree with you. I totally 100% agree with. Like one time, I think we're talking in the group chat with like everyone's wives and stuff about the meeting, and I couldn't make it.
Yeah,
and I joked that it was because of you.
Yeah,
and then you actually went out of your way, reached out to me, said, "Oh, my bad, I didn't mean to offend you." And I was genuinely touched by it
because you can't tell tones. That's the thing. Like,
I just didn't have time to like respond back and talk. My job, a lot of things came up, and unfortunately, it was on a Friday. It's really hard to do it on a Friday because I know like that's like one of like the busiest.
Are you trying to publicly explain the reason why you cannot come to my birthday dinner?
No, what I'm trying to say is that like there's like reasons.
I'm not sure when this episode is coming out, but my birthday is in February, so if it is past February, please wish me a happy belated birthday.
What a narcissist!
Please.
You hear this shit? No, you could have just left it at, it's gonna be my birthday. This motherfucker said, please.
If you want my Venmo QR code, I accept all donations, but please make sure that you don't select goods and services. Because if you select,
this guy said don't select goods and services.
Because if I get over $600 in goods and services,
you get taxed.
I get taxed.
He said friends and family. This shit. Look at this guy. He said not only do wish me a happy birthday, send me your fucking money. Not even for the pod, just for his birthday. This motherfucker.
This whole podcast is a money pit, okay? Look at all the equipment around us right now that's making us no income.
Oh man, that's true.
Okay, I'm getting back to it. So you don't care much about saving face except for like with your family and stuff.
Yeah, I would say friends, family. The internet can suck one. I don't give a shit about the internet.
Okay, here's the thing. When Ben says he doesn't give a shit about the internet, it doesn't also mean that it's the opposite where fuck you internet. He just means like you guys can choose to love him and then he'll be grateful. You can choose to hate him on the internet. Whatever. It doesn't give a shit.
Because I realized how toxic it can be for some of those people out there.
Now that we are more on the internet more and sometimes you get comments on various platforms and stuff, I've grown thicker skin.
It's always very racially toned.
It is.
Most of these comments.
I don't give a shit. And I'm not one to feed the trolls.
Yeah, I'll like the comment actually. Personally, I'll just like it, or I'll give a thumbs up emoji.
Thumbs up emoji.
I don't give a shit. And then, actually, you know what's funny? I had this Gus, right? He was so pissed. We have, your delicious hookah, right? They have the hoses attached to the pipes. The guy, he's Russian, is like, Ben, they steal the hookah hose from the hookah. I'm like, did they really? He's like, yeah, it's not. When we went there, it's gone. And he's like, it's $50. So I'm like, fuck. So I have to go to this Gus, right?
Yeah.
But they got so offended because we're like, hey, like, we got to make sure they're telling us we can't find it. And they're like, oh, well, so you're saying that we stole it? And the guy was so pissed. He was like, the moment you pat me down, I'm swinging. People don't notice, but I actually did security for a bit. That's why, like, my temperament's pretty calm. I can't get really mad at people when they're out and shit. And then I was like, you don't want to do that, man. Like, let's relax, dude. And I even told him this. I said, look, man, I think this is stupid.
So did you find it on them?
We didn't find it on them. But it got to the point where, like, the guy's like, he was obviously making threats, like, we're going to fight. He's like, no, I'm going to wait for you outside, blah, 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 all this shit. And I'm like, no, you're not. And I'm, like, calm about it, right? Yeah. And then it got to the point where the guy got so mad about the way I was just coming off. He was like, man, you got to stop patronizing me, son. It's getting me more pissed and shit. And I was like, I'm not patronizing. I believe
Sounds like you are, though.
Yeah, it does, right? It sounds more condescending. Like,
yeah.
And I touched him on the shoulder. I was like, look, I believe you. Why would you steal the hose? And it was making it so much worse.
I could imagine it.
And he was drunk as fuck already. And then eventually what happened was that we found out this, he came later to apologize. He's like,
he did?
I'm sorry. Because I said, like, dude, you're really going to do this? Like, we're too old for this. Like,
that's so condescending.
It is, right? Like, the more I talk about it, the more it's like, yo, you sound like you're an asshole, bro.
Yeah.
But going to, saving face or is it showing face or saving face?
Okay, so face itself is, let's say, the noun. The noun, right? And then saving face is just preserving your face.
Okay. So saving, he obviously, he blew his face off, right? Let's just be real. Like, that shit felt right. He two-faced himself. Being
drunk just kind of like takes away all those other guardrails that would just prevent you from that would stop you from doing stupid things.
Oh, yeah.
The whole thing with a face is, in a lot of ways, it has its negatives, but it does kind of like, if you believe in it, it stops you from doing stupid things.
It does. I think for most part of it, it does, but it's kind of out of fear, which is the sucky part.
But most things you do is out of fear, right? Like that whole thing that they always say about if society had no laws and whatever, people would just revert back to their instincts and just be a bunch of
rapists and thieves.
Yeah. Society as a construct keeps people reined in from being animals, basically.
Right.
The idea of saving face, like, in general, is good in some ways. Although nowadays, younger people like ourselves would probably not give a shit about it as much.
Right. I think that's also kind of like the shock value of things. People just do things just to become famous.
Yeah.
It's really tragic thinking about that kind of stuff. It's like when the COVID thing happened, people were licking toilet bowls. Remember that?
That was a TikTok trend, right?
That was a TikTok trend. It was an actual TikTok trend. And
wasn't there that other trend where
they put vodka in their eyeballs? You didn't know about that?
I didn't hear about that.
Like, there was another one where they're just stealing property from school.
Yeah.
They're stealing air conditioners. They're just taking whatever they could, and it was getting more and more ridiculous.
It's like a weird tangent, but how do you keep a kid away from social media? Because they have their phones, they have the computers, they have their friends' phones and computers. Like, there is no way to keep them off social media. In some ways, we are the last generation to have been raised in a society with not so much social media, right?
Yeah.
Yo.
Saving face is going to be hard.
Because you want to, like, take off your pants for the internet and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's quickly touch on the fact that sometimes when Western people go over to overseas in Asia, they are introduced to this idea of face while living in Asia.
Okay.
And then they have to adapt to it because that's the cultural norm over there.
Okay.
I think a lot of Western people would probably struggle with it. If you went to a restaurant with, like, your coworkers or your friends for the first time, and then the bill comes, and then you ask, how do you want to split this?
Yeah.
How bad would that make them look?
Oh, man.
Because there are certain practices that they are not accustomed to, right?
Right.
How should they know that they should pay for the whole check if they're so used to going out with friends and then everything is always split?
I guess it's kind of like you're going to have to make mistakes when you're, first living there. Hopefully, you go there because you have the intentions of, you respect the culture, you want to be immersed in it and stuff, right? So if you, like, move to Japan, you're obviously trying to learn the culture, the language, certain aspects of that, or of their life.
You should also maybe get a little bit more leeway. Like, if you're a Westerner that's in Asia and you make these small mistakes, maybe you shouldn't lose as face as quickly as someone who was born there and does the exact same thing.
Okay. Which country do you think is like out of all the Asian countries, which one do you think is like the nicest? Like they're the most welcoming of foreigners.
Welcoming in what sense? Genuinely welcoming, or just as a facade that's the most welcoming?
Let's say both.
I watch so much YouTube about Japan and stuff. On the surface level, it seems like that the culture is very kind to all.
They're very like warm-hearted and welcoming.
But then, like when you look at some of the policies, it's like they're very anti-immigration. It's impossible for foreigners to like rent an apartment. There are things that, like the system itself is made that it's not very welcoming, but the people on the surface may be very genuinely nice to foreigners.
It's like, oh, hi, how you doing? You can't stay here though.
Yeah, seriously. It's like something like that. And this is just from the stuff that I've seen on YouTube and the internet, so it's hard to say for real. Like, is South Korea welcoming to foreigners?
I think they are. I think before they weren't. So when I was growing up and when I went to go visit Korea when I was very, very young, even though I'm Korean, the fact that like if you spoke English, me and my brother were at the park, we're waiting for our aunt or something. So we're playing in the schools. The kids overheard us speaking English.
Yeah.
And because of it, they fucking try to jump us and stuff. So we were literally surrounded in a circle. And then we have to fight all these fucking kids. We fucked them up, thank God. You know?
Is this just a one-off experience with a bunch of dumb kids?
I don't know, bro.
Was your other time with the rest of the city more pleasant than just this one-off experience?
I know, but the fact that
before you open your mouth, you're still a Korean person.
But back then, it wasn't what it is now. You know, if you don't come off Korean, you know, Korean people were pretty much assholes about it. They were not shy about that.
It's strange because some countries are very welcoming if you're like a Westerner. Say, you know, actually, now that I'm saying that out loud, they're welcoming of a Westerner when they are physically a Westerner, as opposed to you and
like actually, yeah,
who is Korean American and not just Korean.
It's
that's like a different thing.
Yeah, because it's like, it's like you're doing this to your own people.
Do you think we get treated worse if we're a Chinese American as compared to just an American in China, or a Korean American compared to a American in Korea?
Oh, I think in some ways, yeah. Because like for one, it looks bad that like for some reason Korean Americans, we're so bad at speaking Korean.
So bad.
But in Chinese Americans, you guys can relatively still have like a strong foundation.
There's a lot of stuff where it's like American-born Chinese.
Yeah.
When they go overseas and they open their mouths, you can clearly tell by the tone and everything.
It's just like, it feels like, for me personally, is that like most Koreans, we're so bad at speaking it, we can't survive off it. Where like Chinese people is like, oh, you could somewhat get away with it.
You know, it's funny, if by most Koreans, you just mean you and your brother. And like,
I'm referring to those kids again and shit.
All Koreans speak shitty Korean. It's just you and your brother like talking back and forth with your shitty Korean.
But I guess, not knowing the language really does play a factor into it. I don't know, if you go to China, would they do that same shit to you too?
People are more tolerant of foreign travelers anyway. So like things are usually set up in those major cities for foreign travelers. There's like bilingual menus. There's like different things where you can just get by if you're a foreigner. So it's not as difficult nowadays for you to be a foreigner or just like a Americanized version of that person in that country anymore.
If you went back to China, do you think you could like survive on your own?
Hell no. Fuck no. I can't survive. Yo, bro. Oh my God. I would have to go to like one of those cities where it's a bunch of expat Americans just at the bars. Yeah. It's just like, what are you doing here, bro? I can't speak this language either.
Like, you served time? Like, no, I didn't. I just can't really speak Chinese at all.
What, do your parents only speak English? Nah, they speak Chinese too, but I didn't learn shit.
Yeah. Are you military, son? No. I'm legit. I just cannot. I'm lost. I need adult supervision.
I think both of us would have to go into those particular sections of our country to survive.
Yeah, don't they have an app thing where you can like take pictures and it'll like translate it now?
Yeah, that's the real thing? Google Translate thing. But just imagine you as a Korean person talking to another Korean person using the Translate app. How sad would that make you feel?
Yo, man, I am not gonna make it in Korea.
All right, let me see if I have a couple more things to talk about this whole saving face topic. We talked about how to gain face. You want to talk about how to lose face a little bit.
Doing a podcast is a good start.
Doing the podcast is a very good start because you're on the internet. You say lots of stupid things. I thought about this once. When I get older and my son is older, my stupidity is documented on the internet for him.
That is true.
That is kind of sad.
I would say, talking about going back to the whole fear-mongering thing, I would say because of this podcast, it's kind of made me behave better, I think.
In real life.
I think so.
That's so, well, Ben doesn't want to get canceled.
Yes, that's the main reason.
That means normally you have very cancelable behavior.
Yeah, I think so
that's
too.
That's the normal version of you.
Yeah. I get surprised when people are like, no, Ben's pretty, pretty PG. I'm like, oh man, thank God.
Okay. In China, losing face is mainly caused by embarrassment, disagreement, criticism,
Crime.
or the opposite of all the things that we said that you can do to gain face.
Dude, it's really important. So I hope our listeners are listening to this. It's like, it's a good reminder, like, huh, am I doing things that's saving face? Because it should promote better behavior.
Theoretically, it should promote better behavior.
You know?
It's all in fucking theory.
Yeah, it's kind of like when someone's trying not to be racist, but when they say something, it comes off more racist.
Because they're trying not to be
racist, but it still comes out mad hella racist and shit.
Like I keep saying, the only thing is don't try to save face at the detriment of yourself.
Right, yeah.
You're like, find that line. There is no need to fucking fight for the check if you don't have money to pay.
I'm just giving my library card.
Your library card probably has some debt on there because you didn't return your books.
Well, yo, actually, I definitely do.
Getting on to my favorite part of the whole podcast, ranting and raving. This is the part where Ben and I take a couple seconds just to bitch about our lives. Even though it sounds like we've been bitching this whole episode, this part in particular is specifically tailored just for the bitching.
Yes.
I'm going to kick this off with something that's, I guess, a pseudo rave.
Oh.
Maybe it's a rant to other people on the opposite side of me. When I go to like a place where I can get a burrito and they have lots of toppings and fillings,
okay,
I always feel like I'm winning by asking for almost everything.
Yeah.
Rice, what do you want? Brown or white? Both. Beans, what do you want? Pinto or black? Both.
Yeah.
Which sauce do you want? All of them.
What kind of sauces? All of them.
All of them. When all is said and done, the person can like never fold the burrito. And then I'm watching them struggle to fold it.
And you're like, yeah.
Yo, there are some times when they can't even fold it that they grab another pita and they just wrap. So it's like a burrito with a wrap from both sides.
Holy shit.
Yes, I get it. It's annoying. I don't want to be on the other side having to wrap this douchebag's this giant burrito too, right? But I feel like it's a victory for me because I'm like, this is all free.
Yeah.
If you're the person that just gets like one sauce or like one thing, I feel like you're wasting the opportunity to get more free food.
If you can do it, if they offer it.
It's like going to a buffet and just eating from one section or eating just a little bit. It's like you have it at your disposal.
Yeah.
Why not use all of it?
I like how we're just trying to figure out like to look at each other now. We're like,
Ben and I have been having this whole podcast today and we're just blocked by these giant boom arms because...
Wait, what's the difference today?
You wanted to sit more upright because you said you look fat for the video. So
yeah, for the algorithm.
No, I don't think you sitting more upright is going to do anything. They just don't like your face.
Hey.
And you're just showing them more of your face now.
We're going to try it out. We'll see. This experiment does not go haywire.
If this fails, I'm just getting a new co-host.
I'm going to wear a mask. I'm just going to wear Lingjie's face on my face right here. I just put it right here and shit.
Okay, what do you have this week for us, Ben?
Oh, what's it? My friend called me and she's like hysterical. And she was telling me how...
Is she okay?
She's okay. It's nothing life-threatening. But she calls me. She's a lifetime listener. I won't say out her name because she's going to be embarrassed. So she was studying at a cafe, I believe, or school. And she told me that like this guy came up to her and was like, hey, I think you're really pretty and beautiful. Can I get your number?
Yeah.
And she responded. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't swing that way. And
wait.
That was her response. She's not gay. But she didn't know what else to say. She was just like, I don't know why I said that though.
That's an okay response. Like if a male...
I don't swing that way. It's like saying like, I'm like rejecting you, but like you're making up this whole thing about your sexuality.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that per se because it's like if you don't like the person that's trying to hit on you and you tell them that you already have a boyfriend or girlfriend and that's a lie, isn't it the exact same thing then?
She was embarrassed about what she said, I guess. Like she was like not prepared for it. She was like, yeah, I was in my hoodie. I didn't feel great. She's like, don't get me wrong. It made my day. And she was like, if you asked for my Instagram, I probably would have given it. Now we're just like talking about like the breakdown of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you're probably nervous. You just didn't know. I was making fun of her. I was like, I think it's funny that that's the first thing that thinks.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not that I'm taken already.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just that I'm going to change my sexuality right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, do you want my number? I just farted. What? Like, it makes no sense. But yeah, she was really embarrassed. The lesson learned is, guys, if you see a pretty girl, shoot your shot. If you're going to talk to the girl and you don't have a lot of time, don't ask for her phone number because that's a little more invasive. Ask for her Instagram first.
How do you reject someone that wants your Instagram?
Just say you're seeing someone.
I don't swing that way. I'm a TikTok person. I don't swing that way. No Instagram. All right, guys, we're at the outro today.
Yes.
Once again, all of 2023, Ben will do the outros with zero ums, zero pauses. He'll do it so smoothly. I'm not going to interrupt them at all. Starting right now, Ben, intro.
Thank you guys for listening. It's been a great episode. Showing face is a really important thing I think we can all learn from. Encourage it, right, Lingjie? All right, great. He's not going to say anything. I'm trying still not to say, oh, this is really, really hard. I'm getting better at it. You can find us on most of our social platforms on Spotify, Apple, Google.
By the way, that's not a social platform.
Oh, okay. You can find us on those, what do you call it? I said, oh, fuck.
Podcast platforms.
Podcast platforms on Google, Apple, and Spotify.
You know what? Technically, if they're listening to this part right now, they're already on a podcast platform.
Look at me. I'm Lingjie. I know everything.
So you shouldn't remind them about that. You should instead remind them about our social media platforms.
Yes. So
sorry, I was supposed to not interrupt you. Please go continue now.
Wow. Social media platform. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. What else is there? TikTok. Thank you, China. At Worst Asian Pod. You can send us a DM, like our videos. Hopefully my face is a little better now for the algorithm.
I'm not sure if I said this here or on the last recording, but Ben is very conscious that the videos with his thumbnail are not doing well.
It's not.
So if you see a video with Ben's thumbnail, just please comment, Ben, your face looks great, or something to that extent, or just heart it. I don't know. Just give Ben some positive reinforcement. Otherwise, he's really going to think he looks ugly.
Yes, I will. Everything I thought I believed in, all been a lie.
Shattered.
Exactly. So I think that's it.
Bonus content.
Bonus content. I was gonna get to it. So rude. God, interruption much. You can find us on our monthly paid subscriptions. Thank you to our current listeners out there. But yeah, we can find us on Spotify and Apple. It's only a low fee of what was it again? $49.99.
That's not a low fee. If it was $49.99, that's more than some people's internet bills.
So
you guys don't pay for your internet and just listen to us.
Guys, skip your gym membership.
It's $4.99 USD.
Damn, that's it? That's a bargain.
That's an insane bargain.
My God. So for only $4.99, you're telling me I get to listen to more of the Worst Asian podcast?
Indeed you do. Indeed you do.
This must be a scam. You sure it's not that Sam Friedman kid? I feel like this is way too, this sounds way better than FTX.
When you see the box that says your social, just put your social there. It's fine.
Thank you.
You don't have to worry about that.
But yeah, we just want to do a continuous shout out and thank you for the people that have been listening.
And if you guys don't want to subscribe, that's perfectly fine with us as well. Who really gives a shit?
Exactly. You're just dead to us.
The bonus stuff is just an extra extension of it that we do for the subscribers. And it's just random topics that we have.
Not that Asian.
It's just random shit that we have fun.
It's just the worst podcast now. That's all
it's not even worst Asian. It's just the worst podcast.
There was a good episode where we were talking about our top favorite movies.
I have amazing taste in cinema, by the way.
That is the biggest cap in this world. That's what the cool kids say. Cap. Cap, bro. You know Riz?
What's Riz?
You don't know? I just learned it. So Riz, it's like having game, having swag. Like when you're trying to pick up a chick.
So you have Riz?
So yeah, so that's the new, what the cool kids are saying. You got Riz.
You got Riz.
It means you got game.
So do we have Riz?
I don't know. Apparently my face doesn't have Riz for the algorithm. That's what it looks like.
We'll catch you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in. Tell your friends or family about us. Give us a 5-star review on all the platforms wherever possible. That's one free way you can help us. I don't know how any of this shit works. I have to find a job.
What the fuck? What kind of fucking random thing is that to say?
This podcast is a money pit. This shit is not even self-sustaining.
But you guys can change that by subscribing soon.
Thank you so much for listening. We will catch you guys next week.
Bye.
Adios.
Adios.
See ya.
Yeah.
Vámonos.